Thank you for coming this morning. Like you said, my name is Paul Weiss. I'm with Commissioning Agents. And I'm going to talk to you today about building custom applications using our innovative and intelligent software platform in highly regulated industries. So we'll just move on to a few teasers here to get it started. Highly regulated industries require lots of things out of us, right? And sometimes doing innovation or doing innovative things in a highly regulated industry is difficult. I want to call your attention, if you were in the session this morning, he talked about building bicycles and airplanes, right? And he said you can go into your shop and build a bicycle, and when it doesn't work, you can build a little bit more, and you do that safely. And he said, well, we don't do that with airplanes. And immediately my mind went, well, the Wright brothers did, right? So we kind of have to find our niche between the shop and the process development for our needs, right? And tailor that to the needs that we have. All right, to get your brain moving on how custom applications might apply to you, we've got a couple of things up there. This actually came out of a study that we did that showed that people doing their jobs, and for those of you that are in management, for those people that you're paying to do their jobs, they actually spend 1 to 2 hours a day on nothing but reporting. And if we could automate that, we could save that time. And then, of course, right, ever knowing what is going on in your organization. We have lots of documents in this industry, and I think we spend an inordinate amount of time trying to figure out where they are and what the status of them is, and we can build applications that can help out with that. So what is Coactive? Who are we? We are a software development company. We're part of CAI, and we've built a technology that allows us to innovate and build custom software applications in highly regulated industries using our platform that is pre-hardened. Amy Abernethy this morning talked about building technology solutions for FDA and then having to go through the process of hardening them. Well, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but once you kind of get the idea of what you want to do and you put it into an environment, you have to secure it, right? Otherwise, you get your hand slapped, right? You can't put unsecured applications out there. But that securing it isn't necessarily hard, but it takes time. And when you're iterating on an idea, go back to the bicycle or to the Wright brothers for a second. If every time that you iterate on an idea, you have to go through this hardening stage, then your cost of developing the solution that you're trying to build to provide a higher degree of efficiency is drastically cut, right? So what we're doing is building applications that allows us to innovate on certain aspects of the solution without having to go through the process of hardening that solution from the ground up every single time. So think of let's see, the speaker right after Amy there talked about mass customization. And mass customization in the car industry, you know, he showed the picture of a modern car manufacturing plant where everything was automated, but I don't know if you've ever ordered a car offline, but you can pick all the options that you want and customize your vehicle. Well, what you can't pick is exactly what metal your cylinders are made out of, right? You can't pick the material that they use to tint the paint and to harden the paint, but you can pick the color. You can pick the interior. So you can pick certain options about that make your experience for driving the car different. So what we're doing in the software development industry is providing you the tools to change your experience related to the software that you're using without having to go into the nitty-gritty details of customizing absolutely everything from the ground up. That's what we do. We've been doing that since, well, actually we've been doing it since 2010, but then we've more formally spun off into a corporate startup in 2017 and have started working through that. So we focus on speed, on collaboration, and on control. In highly regulated industries like this, we have to have that control. And oftentimes you trade that for speed. And unless you're using a tool with this pre-hardened methodology for creating applications, you pay big bucks and you take years to build a solution that really matters. And oftentimes those projects are so risky from a cost and schedule perspective that they fail because you really don't you don't have time and money to iterate on an idea as much. So in Coactive, what we do is we use an interactive approach to solving the business problem. That means that if you have an idea, the likelihood of that idea being the right idea the first time is extremely low. And that's not an insult to your intelligence. Think back to the Wright brothers for example, right? You've seen the pictures of all the flying contraptions that they tried to do at first, and a lot of them failed, right? So it's no secret that we need to iterate on those ideas. Well, with Coactive, what we iterate on is interactions with the end user, and we'll iterate on an idea 4 or 5 times in a single meeting using the technology, rather than over a 2 or 3 month period. So you can really start to solve problems and see those solutions, feel them, and use them for real in the same day. That's what the technology is built on. So a little bit about hardening things, and then I'll show you some. I'll show you some stuff. I'll give you a live example. Do you mind if I pull that one up today? Is it okay? Okay. So being built, we grew up in the pharmaceutical and biotech industry, so our platform is built with all of the features that we need to build compliant applications. So 21 CFR Part 11, we work in the HIPAA space, as well as some other highly regulated industries. So we've got that experience already built in. So if you're looking to build a custom solution, it's hard to find developers with that kind of experience, especially because they're going to start from the ground up. Okay, so let me switch this over here. I'm going to grab my phone, and we're just going to show you. Everybody wants to see applications, so I'm just going to unplug this real quick. So we've been working with a customer of ours. We'll wait for it to pop up there, on an application for fit and finish. And I'll just go ahead and log in here. The fit and finish observation is much like issue tracking tools that you may or may not have used. We actually built a very robust issue tracking tool called Exodus, and I'll show a couple of use cases from that here in a minute. But this one is a lot faster and I think a lot more modern in terms of collecting observations out in the field. So the principle is actually is simple. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, how many words is a video worth? Right? At 30 frames per second, we've got lots and lots and lots of words here. So this particular application is designed to use the device camera. You're all on camera now. And I've recorded an observation that might be an issue, right? So maybe I'll focus in on something. And I can just talk. And while I'm talking about that issue, I'm filming various aspects of something inside of a facility or inside of a suite, or walking down a hallway. You see a forklift hit the wall. Anything that can be captured out in the field is captured with video and audio using your mobile device. And when it's done, I can move on, right? Because who has time to fill in a whole bunch of fields while they're walking around the facility? You record the video, and you can come back to it later and specify where you were, what building you were in, what suite this was in, and what department needs to take care of this. And then I route that particular issue to the department. So it's a pretty simple concept, but it solves a very specific problem in an easy way that is a highly deployable application in an industry that integrates to other systems, right? So computerized maintenance management systems, finance systems, all of those integrations are easily done in a platform that is pre-hardened like this, so that we can focus on giving the users the tools, but only the tools that they need to do their job, so that you don't even have to train them on it, because everybody can use that app with only a minute of actually working with it. So that's what our aim is. We base that principle on, if I ask everybody in the crowd, how many apps do you have on your phone? Hundreds, right? Some of you, maybe, at least dozens. How many times have you read a user manual for any one of those? 0, right? Nobody ever reads user manuals for those. And that iterative approach, those apps on your phone took millions of dollars to build, likely, and lots of iterations to work on. We do those same number of iterations for thousands, and for 30% of the time that you would spend building stuff from scratch like that. Okay, I do have some workflow, or some use cases, but I think we're going to, for the sake of time, invite you to our booth, the CAI booth, right in the front door there, and we can show you some more of those use cases. But I'd like to open up the time for questions. 5 more minutes in addition to the 5 minutes questions. So I have 10 minutes total. Okay. Do you guys want to see some use cases, or do you have some questions already? Why don't we take questions first before I drone about something else? Any questions? All right, use cases then. I got your vote. Let's see. So this is just a basic workflow app, just like the one that you saw, right? We did a time study on. And depending on how many people are using it, obviously, but the amount of time that they save throughout the day is actually significant. Go back to the beginning, we had that 1 to 2 hours a day they spend on reporting stuff. And if they're doing that kind of thing manually, you have 360 reports sent annually for $240 in a day. That's $86,000. Guess what? I just paid for the app, and then some, if you build it this way. Okay, we have a product that we've built on top of our product. I know that's confusing a little bit maybe, but we've used our application development technologies to build our own thing in partnership with CAI. We've built something called Exodus, and Exodus is a pharmaceutical grade or biotech grade issues tracking and change control management application. And it's actually very flexible. You can use it for a lot of different things, not necessarily just tracking issues in an electronic manner on your site. And we've got several, well actually we've got a lot of these running throughout the country, but we've got some that are highlighted. So this particular customer actually used this tool as a quality risk management approach to deliver, to remove the physical routing of paper related to their quality risk management issues. And I'll skip through these quick. If you want to know more of these, you can email me, and I'll send you some more details on the use cases. This one is in a different part of the country. This is just data management, like team coordination, right? They were using Excel spreadsheets. I know you're probably all guilty of that. So we're really just providing them a way to collaborate and track the issues in one environment. And then this last one, they actually use the same tool for document management, so routing of all of their protocols for review and signature on the project environment. That is one thing to note. When you are building tools like this, a lot of times the hesitation is to go towards the enterprise document control system, when really those systems are a lot of times designed to be an end repository and not a place where people can draft and quickly change and review documents and modify those. So building workflow-based apps that are fast enough to be deployed onto projects is key. And that's one of the areas where we really focus on. We're not going to replace SAP or Maximo because those systems do their jobs very well in a permanent solution. But we can integrate with those systems and provide a much easier, a much more deployable solution to simplify the workflow for the people that are running your capital projects. We seem to do a lot of those. Okay, I think I'm close on time. If you want to know more information, we've got a handful of people that are here at the show. There are their pictures, and you can ask them more if you've got an idea or a need that maybe you're not even sure if it's an idea or really want some guidance on what you should do. We have our partnership with CAI is key because they have a lot of experience with a lot of different systems in a lot of different markets all the way across the world, and we add that technology aspect to it. So our individuals here, if you find somebody and they have CAI on their badge, talk to them about technology solutions, because while they may say to you, oh, I'm not a tech guy at first, they probably know what technology solutions are good in the right instances, and they can certainly leverage our side of the business to provide those. Any other questions? I have 5 minutes for questions. And if you don't have questions, you get 5 minutes back before the next presentation. Sure. The question was for the camera too, and if you didn't hear it, can I discuss the Part 11 compliance for Exodus? Can I ask a clarifying, like which part? Like how it works, or? Sure. So I'm assuming everybody in the room has at least a little bit of experience with 21 CFR Part 11, right? So the way that we get to a state of validating that we are Part 11 compliant for a coactive app is to start with some fundamental principles like account expiration, password security, complexity requirements, data transmissions, those kind of things. If you were building an application from the ground up, you'd have to pay for all that stuff. That's built into the platform. We don't worry about that. So all we have to worry about, and I guess needs to know, is more HIPAA than Part 11 compliance. But all we have to know or build into the app is the auditability stuff, the ability to lock a record down when it's actually been approved. And those are application level things that we have features in the platform to support. So when we need a particular record to be locked, we just flip a switch in our platform, and that record is now locked. And then, of course, as many times as you want, you can go through and validate and test those functions. That is a good question, though, because a lot of people will say, well, is Coactive validated? The answer to that question is no. Coactive is a development platform that allows you to easily build solutions that can be easily validated. That's a good question. Did that answer your question? Okay. Any more? Okay. Well, thank you for coming. Thank you for your time. It's wonderful seeing you.